Hi guys, German Prepper here. President Vladimir Putin of the Russian Federation spoke at the plenary session of the Russian Energy Week International Forum. The topic of the panel discussion is Global Energy in a Multipolar World. Quite the telling title there. Now, Putin's speech was very long, guys, in-depth and well written. Today I want to give you a chosen selection of quotes from it. Listen carefully as he makes some interesting points that we ought to consider. You will never hear this from anyone else. The sabotage of the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 gas pipelines. There is no doubt that this is an act of international terrorism, the purpose of which is to undermine the energy security of an entire continent. The logic is cynical: to destroy, block sources of cheap energy, deprive millions of people, industrial consumers of gas, heat, electricity, and other resources, and force them to buy all this at much higher prices. Force. The attack on the Nord Stream has become a most dangerous precedent. It shows that now any critically significant objective of transport, energy, or communication infrastructure is under threat, regardless of what part of the world it is located, by whom it is controlled, laid on the seabed or on land. On land. Next quote. And who is behind the sabotage at Nord Stream? Obviously, those who seek to finally break the ties between Russia and the European Union want to finally undermine and finish off the political subjectivity of Europe, weaken its industrial potential, and seize the market. And of course, someone who is technically, and I want to emphasize this, is technically capable of staging such explosions and has already resorted to such sabotage and was caught by the hand but remained unpunished. Well, the beneficiaries. The beneficiaries are already clear. I think that there is no need to go into details here because the geopolitical importance of the remaining gas systems is increasing. They pass through the territory of Poland, Yamal, Europe, through the territory of Ukraine, 2 streams, all at one time Russia built with its own money, and also the USA, of course, which can now supply energy resources at high prices. As they say in decent companies, highly likely everything is clear. Everything is clear who is behind it and who is the beneficiary. It is now possible, indeed on a large scale, to impose natural liquefied gas from the United States on European countries, which is clearly inferior in terms of competitiveness to Russian pipeline gas. After all, prices for American LNG are much higher. It was well known to everyone before, and now even more so, but there are still additional risks, in addition to price indicators. The risks lie in the fact that all this is very unstable, and any supplies may float away to other regions of the world. And we have seen this, by the way, and more recently, when American tankers carrying LNG to Europe turned around halfway and changed destinations because LNG sellers were offered a higher price elsewhere. At the same time, the interests of European buyers were ignored. One final quote. The resource that comes to the European market is literally sold at exorbitant prices, as I have already said, and drives up inflation along the chain. It has already reached 10% in the Eurozone. Ordinary Europeans are suffering. In a year, their electricity and gas bills have more than tripled. The population, as in the Middle Ages, began to stock up on firewood for winter. What is Russia doing here? They are constantly trying to blame their own mistakes on someone. In this case, on Russia. We are to blame. I want to emphasize again, this is not even the result of any actions within the framework of a special military operation in Ukraine, in the Donbass, not at all. This is the result of misguided energy policies over a number of previous years. A whole series of years. There we are, guys. Now, regardless of feelings and sides in the war, I cannot help but largely agree with these statements, especially given I am seeing the damage being done here on the ground in Europe. A question for you all now to end. Do you agree, or should we disregard the words of our government's enemy? As always, looking forward to reading your answers. Keep prepping, guys. Cheers for now.